In this video, we will be picking up where we left off, and we are going to finish modeling off the, we're going to start by modeling the back side of the cannon, as you see here, as well as kind of the front part of the cannon, a little bit of a piece that sticks out here, and then also we're going to model these wheels. We have a number of different wheel options to use, and so we're just going to model some basic wheels. Keep in mind this is meant for AR. Therefore, we want to make sure everything we do is optimized and low poly. So any polygons that are not going to be seen, we need to hide, as you see, or we need to delete. As you see here, we have some polygons that we won't be seeing. Therefore, they've been deleted. But also anything that can be, anything that needs to be rounded will be rounded. But if it doesn't need to be, then we're going to go ahead and try to keep it. Only round off the necessary pieces. So anyways, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start off by making the back block, and we're gonna just make a cube here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my cube. I'm gonna go to my top view real quick. I think actually this surprisingly seems to be pretty much exactly what I wanted, and actually it's even the right width. I just need to adjust the height here. I think this looks about right. I'm just gonna push this till it's right along the box or the base here. All right, that looks fine. And I want to go ahead and this will be another one of those situations where I'm going to grab these and bevel those. Something very subtle, but maybe this is a little bit overkill, but I do like to have this soft edge there. That looks pretty good. And so now I'm going to make an additional cube, which I'm going to place right on top of this one. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller. So that looks pretty good. And I want to make sure to place this right on, so it sits right on top of there. And then this is kind of a wedge cube, so I'm going to move this front edge down a bit, and actually I'm going to move this piece down a little bit as well. There you go. That looks pretty good to me. And now I'm going to select all these edges and kind of keep to that very subtle bevel that we've been doing. So that looks pretty good. And I'm just looking at my reference. I also have this handle I want to make. So I'm going to go ahead and the handle, I'm going to use a cylinder. Oops, I'm just going to use a default cylinder here. I'm going to make this maybe 12 for the subdivision axis. And I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees. Okay. And I'm going to scale this down a bit. And I'm going to move this so it goes just onto the tail end here, like so, and I'll scale it down a little bit as well. So keep in mind, as we discussed, the rule, if you can't see it, you can delete it. So therefore, with that being the rule, I can go ahead and delete this face here, since I won't be able to see them, and then I'm just going to push that in here. And in fact, according to that rule, I won't be able to see the bottom here, so I'm going to go ahead and just select this face. Now it's only one polygon we're saving, but it's just a good habit to get into. Okay. So now I have my object here, and I'm going to start off by making this a little bit smaller, even more so, and then go my vertex mode. Oops, let's go object mode and select. Here you go. My vertex mode here. I'm going to pull these out a bit. That might be a little bit much. So let's go ahead and something like that might be more than enough. And I'm going to continue to make this even smaller yet. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So this end does come to a kind of a rounded end, so I'm going to go ahead and bevel that. And let's go with maybe, I don't know, 3 segments, probably a little bit of overkill, but that'll be good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to grab a couple of these, make a connection here. So I just want maybe 2 for now. I'm going to actually grab this one here, move it towards the back, and I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to scale this down just a hair, and I'm actually going to bevel this. Just so, yeah, that's pretty good, because I'm looking at my reference and it's kind of a little bit of a handle. That looks pretty good. And then one last thing, I don't really need to do this, but I might as well. I'm going to make this a little bit of a base right there. So now we have that handle done. I'm going to just go ahead and click on the handle. Shift I will isolate it, and I'm going to delete any faces that I won't be seeing. So I'm going to select these and delete those back faces. Okay, that looks pretty good there. So one more thing I want to do here is I'm going to make the soft. I'm going to use my smoothing groups or my soft and hard edges. So I'm going to select all these, make all the edges soft, and then we'll go through here and select which edges I want to be hard. So in this case, I'm going to actually go ahead, because I'm going to be using these later on for my unwrapping process. So I'm going to select those, and I'm going to then identify those as hard edges. And when it comes to unwrapping, it'll be a lot faster of a process because I already have all my seams ready to go. Okay, so now we have those 2 pieces done. Let's go ahead and make the front piece. And this one, we're probably just going to go ahead and start off with a cylinder. I think something like this is pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I think the amount of faces is is plenty. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna delete top and bottom one here and scale this down a bit. And then I want to delete either side of this cylinder, and there you go. Now we have kind of a semicircle in which we can move my front view, in fact. See, front view. I'm going to scale this just a little bit more so that it matches roughly the same size as the rest of these. And I'm just back to my perspective view. It can be a little bit off, or a little bit forward. That's perfectly fine. Because what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to go ahead and select these edges, bridge them across, and I'm just going to fill this hole like so. I'll do the same thing on here. Select 4 on either side, bridge them across, and just fill this hole. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to extrude these 2 sides out like this. And I want to then extrude them back. Okay. In fact, maybe instead I want to grab this whole entire bit and then extrude that whole thing back like that. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I may even want to go one step further and kind of bevel this edge here. Okay, something like that. That looks pretty good there. And the final step here will be to make sure this is all optimized, so I can real quickly just cut on either side here. And then on the bottom, you just need to cut that to make so we prevent N-gons. N-gons, keep in mind that's anything or any face that has more than 4 edges. Those are N-gons, and that can give some shading errors. One last thing, if you want to do, you're welcome to bevel this piece, this edge right here, just to make it feel kind of the same softness as the other edges. So there you go, we have that piece done. And now we will be making our wheel. This looks a little bit large, so I might scale this back a little bit and then move this in a tad. And that is totally your call. But yeah, I think that's fine there. So the wheels, we're gonna start off by just making, and I'm looking at, let's see, I'm looking at, this wheel here is pretty simple. There's a lot of really great wheels. They aren't too complex. They're basically just wooden wheels for most part, a little bit of a rod that goes in between. So that's what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a wooden wheel that will go just inside this, right behind this piece here, and then right in front of this piece here. So I can, just like I did with the wooden slats in between, I can actually model one wheel or one set of wheels and then duplicate that towards the back. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to start off by just creating my cylinder. I do want this to look fairly round, so therefore I think 20 side cylinder will be good for this situation. I want to go and move this 90 degrees. I want to then move this towards front, scale it down quite a bit, because here I'm making the kind of the spoke that holds the two wheels together, or the rod that holds the two wheels together. So I want to make that first. I think that I could probably even go a little bit smaller, so something like that looks pretty good. And now I want to line it up, so I'm just gonna go to my top view. I want to line it up with just the, so it goes just inside, and maybe a little bit more. There you go. And I want to actually put this as far as the very outside wheel will go. And then from here, I'm going to grab some edges, go to my connect tool. I'm going to put in this case, I think 4 connections is plenty. I'm going to scale that out just a hair. And then I'm going to select these 2 inside ones, scale those out, and this will be basically making the wheel itself. So now I have the wheels kind of plotted out here, and I can just go to my extrude face and we'll extrude these out like so. That looks maybe a little more. There you go. So they look pretty good for my wheels. If I want, I can always bevel those just a pinch so they don't look so sharp. So maybe 0.2 to there you go. So I have the wheel made up. Again, we're using AR, so I'm not too concerned about it being being super detailed. I'm just going to go ahead and place this wheel just in. We're going to assume that there's a hole here. I'm not going to actually model the hole there because there'd be no real value to it by modeling that hole. So that looks pretty good there. And next, I'm just going to duplicate this and move it back. So therefore, I'm going to go to my bottom view. Let's see, bottom view. I want to have this kind of match the front as far as how far from the block it is. That looks pretty good there. So now we have the wheels made up. We now have the base of this cannon ready to go. Okay, so now that'll basically be all you need to do to model out the base for your cannon. And the next video, we are going to go into the modeling the cannon itself, using some primitives, and then finishing off this model here.